Ain't about your bread and I can't fuck with ya. I thought you was 100, but you showed me 50. You said you was gonna ride, huh? And the coupe that's parked outside, that bitch looks so expensive. I bet it cut your eye, huh?
Hey, bro, we got Chief Keef versus SD, a fallout of GBE. Glory Boys, man, GBE, you know what I'm saying? Apparently somebody was acting like a bitch. No cap, we finna hop into this.
Keef is one of the most influential artists of this generation. He's not just a Chicago legend, but a certified hip-hop icon who's responsible for creating the drill wave that's still taking over the industry today. But most fans don't know about what was going down behind the scenes during his come-up. Today, we're laying out the true story behind the fallout between Keef and his GBE co-founder, SD. Let's get right into it. We all know the story of Chief Keef and how he went from Chirac Savage to worldwide superstar. So let's jump straight into where SD's from. He moved around all over Chicago when he was a kid. At one point, he lived in O Block with his grandmother, but the main hood he repped was a BD set called Blackgate. His mom kicked him out of the house when he was 12, so SD had to learn to survive on his own. Growing up all alone in Chicago wasn't easy. SD was surrounded by crime and violence. He once told an interviewer, "Every day you wake up, it's like a barrel to your head." Around that time, he moved in with his grandma in Parkway Gardens, aka O Block, which is where he first met Keef. SD saw how people around him was living and decided he wanted something more that ended up dead in the street. He started rapping as a way to make it out and linked up with a local producer named DJ Ken. DJ Ken was already making music with Keef at the time. One day, Keef pulled up to the studio when SD and Ken was working. Keef and SD was both around 13 at the time, and they immediately hit it off. They started collaborating on tracks and was kicking it all the time together. At the same time, Keef's older cousin, Fredo Santana, was locked up. When he got out of jail, he wanted to start a rap group, which eventually became Glory Boys Entertainment. Fredo, Keef, SD, and other artists came together and changed the entire music scene in Chicago. SD and Keef dropped a ton of tracks together, which helped them both build a buzz in the city. GBE was starting to attract attention from people outside of Chicago, and it looked like their plans of taking over the industry was working better than anyone expected. SD dropped a few mixtapes in 2012, starting with Life of a Savage. The project featured a bunch of hot artists from Chicago like Keef, Fredo, King L, and Lil Reese. Then he followed it up with Life of a Savage 2 later that year. He wasn't popping off as much as Keef and Fredo at the time, but he was still building a large fan base, and all three of them helped push each other's careers to the next level. When Keef's song Love Sosa dropped, he featured SD in the video to give him a little shine off the track. Love Sosa is still one of his most popular songs, and a lot of people were exposed to SD because of it. Then Keef put Lil Reese on Don't Like, which changed everything. The song went crazy on its own, but got even bigger when Kanye West remixed it. So GBE was in a good position to become the hottest rap crew in the world. But then surprisingly, it ended as quickly as it blew up. Rap groups have a history of falling apart when they're at the top of their game. Just look at what happened with NWA, G-Unit, and Bone Thugs and Harmony. GBE was no different. Fans started to notice that SD wasn't being featured on any new tracks with Keef, but no one knew what was really going on. They came up together, but now Keef was becoming one of the biggest rappers in the world, while SD faded into the background. The Chicago drill scene wouldn't be the same without SD's influence, and fans was wondering what happened behind the scenes. Everyone knew how tight the two rappers were, so SD's absence was definitely felt. Rumors started going around that he got kicked out of GBE and was beefing with Keef, but he was quiet on social media at the time and pretty much stopped dropping music, so everyone was left in the dark about what was going on. SD said in the interview that everything was cool between him and Keef, but he was just working on his own career. He made it seem like everyone was tripping over nothing and that there wasn't any tension with GBE. That turned out to be a lie, but no one knew at the time. During all this, SD decided to fall back from the music. When he eventually came back, he explained that he wanted to spend more time with his kids and family. His own childhood was tough, and he never had a stable figure to guide him through the hard times. He wanted to make sure his kids ain't grow up the same way. He hopped on Instagram Live and told everyone that he had been taking his kids to school every day and was more focused on them.
I've been at home in my nice house with my beautiful wife, with my 3 lovely daughters. I got 5 kids. Got 4 girls and 1 son. You dig what I'm saying? Taking care of my kids, taking them to school every day, doing shit a lot of these they can't do.
But fans just couldn't leave it alone. Every time one of them would hop on Instagram Live, they get asked about what happened and if there was beef between them. Keef got fed up with the questions and told his fans, "Stop asking where SD at. Stop that clown ass shit."
Well, stop asking what SD at, bro. Stop that clown ass shit. You asking about another man, folk. He got his own balls. You asking about a whole other nigga, folk. I don't know, folk. That's not me, folk.
But even though he was annoyed with the questions, he made it clear that he still had love for SD. He said on Live, "That's my son. I still love my son."
That's my son. I still love my son.
Some fans thought this was a diss, but if it was, he never acknowledged it. When someone asked if he with Chief Keef on IG Live, SD responded with, yes, I with Chief Keef.
Chief Keef. Yes, I with Chief Keef.
But later in the video, he says, I don't know what's wrong with him, man. He be acting like a female sometimes.
I don't know what's wrong with him, man. He be acting like a female sometimes, man.
SD is smiling and laughing when he says it, but it's hard to tell what he was really feeling at the time. A fan asked him about them collaborating again, and SD said, I'd love to make some records with him, but I don't think he want to do that. I honestly think he's scared to do records with me for some reason.
I'd love to make some records with him, but I don't think he'll want to do that. I honestly think he's scared to do records with me for some reason. I don't know why. I asked his ass why he don't want to do a record with me.
No one knows for sure how SD was feeling about Keef at the time, but all the questions were starting to get to him too. He told his fans, this page is about SD. I'm getting tired of talking about Keef.
This page about SD. I'm getting tired of talking about Keef, man.
Even though both of them were clearly tired of discussing the situation, people still wouldn't leave it alone. Even if everything was cool between Keef and SD, rumors started going around that other Glow Gang affiliates were cropping SD's face out of old pictures. When he was asked about it in interviews, he ain't seemed too upset. He just laughed it off and said that he don't have any issue with Glow Gang. And you have to ask them why they so mad. But fans kept asking him about Keef. So SD finally opened up about what really went down. When GBE was first blowing up, everyone in the group was on the same level. No one was really in charge, the whole crew just moved as a team. According to SD, Keef wanted to change the group name to Glow Boys and become the leader. He went on live and told everyone he wanted to be the boss. We always was equal. We all was bosses. We all was working together as a team.
He wanted to be the boss. It was never no bigger U's and bigger I's. It's always was we always are equal. We always bosses on. We always our own boss. We always working together. We always a team. It wasn't no you the big guy, you the little folks, you this. It was none of that shit, man. It's none of that. It never was.
SD wasn't about to answer to anyone but himself. So he decided not to join Glow Gang and just work on his own career. Apparently, Fredo felt the same way and ain't like the idea of Keef being the boss of everyone in the crew. SD helped him come up with the idea for a label called Savage Squad, and Fredo eventually branched out on his own and created the label without SD. Now, SD was caught in the middle between Keef and Fredo. He had love for both of them and ain't want to pick sides. From his perspective,
hey, bro, if y'all enjoy it, man, then y'all enjoy it, you feel me? Appreciate y'all for watching, man. I love y'all. God bless y'all. And y'all finna see y'all, bro.
Everybody so bloody,